On record October 23, 2024 at 9:04 a.m.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are back on the record in State of Indiana versus Richard Allen, 08C01-2210, MR1. The defendant is here with his attorneys. The state is here by the prosecutor and his deputies. All of the jurors have unidentified individual sneezes. God bless you. All of the jurors have reassembled. Are we ready to proceed, Mr. McClelland?
Yes, Judge. I'm gonna ask the court to publish the exhibits that I had from yesterday. I have them laid out on the table, just for my own organization. But other than that, the state is ready.
Okay. Defense.
We are, Judge.
Okay. Let's go.
All rise.
Jury in at 9:08 a.m.
Thank you. You may be seated.
Thank you, Jean Clement. I'll let you get all settled in over there. All right. Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's nice to see you back this morning. I hope you had a pleasant evening. The attorneys have indicated they are ready to proceed. Mr. McClelland.
Judge, before the state calls its next witness, I'd ask permission from the court to publish to the jury the exhibits that I admitted through Mr. Mullen late yesterday afternoon. I did not make copies. We also would ask the court to allow us to publish some exhibits from Trooper Jason Page. We were able to make copies of exhibits that were entered into evidence, and we'd ask to publish those, as well to the jury.
Okay. What numbers are we publishing?
Judge, I'll start with the ones from yesterday, State's Exhibits 213, which is the affidavit for the record, and the FBI collection sheet for the photos from the Hoosier Harvestor video, and then State's Exhibits 214 through 219, which are still shots from the Hoosier Harvestor video. I'd ask the court to allow me to publish those first.
You may. State's Exhibits 213 through 219 published.
And then, Judge, we request from the court to.
You may. State's Exhibits 18 through 20 published.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. All right, Mr. McClelland, you may call your first witness.
Judge, the state would call Sarah Carbaugh. I might have to go retrieve her.
Witness sworn.
Good morning, Sarah. Can you tell the court your full name?
My name is Sarah Carbaugh.
And would you spell your first and last name?
Sarah and then Carbaugh.
Do you live in the Delphi area?
Yes, I do.
Have you lived in the Delphi area all of your adult life?
Yes. I'm as local as you can get.
Do you live in town or outside of town?
I live outside of town, in the countryside.
Do you live in the general area of the Monon High Bridge Trail?
Yes.
So, are you familiar with the Monon High Bridge Trail itself?
Absolutely.
Prior to February of 2017, would you visit the High Bridge Trail?
On a daily basis.
And what was the reason you would go there?
I would go there with my dogs that were not exactly the most friendly, so I can be able to walk someplace with them in private.
And you said you would go almost daily?
Almost daily.
Would you travel past the Monon High Bridge entrance going to and from your home if you took that particular route?
Yes.
Was that a road you traveled often?
Yes.
What entrance did you use to enter the High Bridge Trail?
I always used what I know as the Mears entrance.
And the jury has heard some about that, but let's talk about it a little bit. Is it across from a property that belongs to a Mears family?
Yes.
Can you describe it?
So it is an entrance across from the family homestead of the Mears family. The land around Monon Trail was donated or still owned by the Mears family, but is opened up to the public for public access. This trail is directly in front of the house. It is the old access point from the house to what?
Are you a person who would walk across the High Bridge?
When I was 16, yes, but not as an adult.
And would you say you only did it a couple of times or?
I did it 3.
Okay.
And I chickened out the last time and crawled my way back, so.
Now, did you know Abby or Libby?
No.
And at some point, did you learn that they were missing?
Yes, through an Amber Alert.
Do you believe the Amber Alert was on the same day that they went missing?
Yes. I believe it was at night when it was released.
If I told you that date was February 13th, 2017, would you agree?
Yes.
Had you been in the area of the Monon High Bridge Trail on that day?
Yes.
Did you actually walk on the trail?
No.
And so in what way were you in the area?
I was driving by in my little red Saturn, trying to scope out how busy the trail was by how many vehicles were parked at the Mears entrance.
And so how many times did you probably pass that entrance that day?
At least 3 to 4 times.
So tell us about your day on February 13th, 2017, to put into perspective when you would have been passing by the Mears entrance.
It was my day off. I got up, go to town, went to get something to eat during lunchtime frame. And then, I'll admit, it was a beautiful day. It was like I believe 37 degrees. It was a warm day for February, so I drove around the county many a times, just checking everything out, trying to just get some sunlight in, but I passed by there at least 3 or 4 times just to see how busy it was, and there was vehicles there every single time.
And was there a particular time that you went by there that you saw something unusual or that caught your attention?
Yes. The last time I drove by, around the 4 o'clock hour, I noticed a group of people at the Mears entrance. I noticed a girl that I believe, from my memory, 'cause it's been about 7 years now, she was bright blonde hair. I remember either something hot pink, either she was wearing hot pink or the moped she was driving was hot pink. I just remember her talking to a group of people and looking stressed out.
And so if you were you coming from town toward your home or the opposite direction?
To clarify this, I was heading east, towards home, at the time frame.
And so would the town or the city of Delphi be behind you?
Yeah, the city of Delphi was behind me.
And so you see some people at the Mears entrance, and so what about that caught your attention?
They looked stressed out, like I can just tell you now, from there.
Did you continue on toward your home?
Yes.
And did you see anything else on your way home?
I saw a man covered in mud and blood walking on the side of the road.
Now, you just indicated that you were driving eastbound.
Affirmative response.
On County Road 300. Describe for us where you saw this man with mud and blood walking.
I saw him on this side, like if I'm driving, he was on this side of me, indicates, so he was on what I would call the north side of the road and he was walking west towards town.
And when you pointed to your left side, you're indicating that he would be walking the opposite direction of your travel.
Yes.
And he would be on the driver's side of your car?
Yes.
When you saw this man, did you make eye contact with him?
I looked at him, but he did not make eye contact with me.
How fast would you normally travel on this road?
Like 30, 35.
Did you slow down at all when you approached the man?
Yeah, 'cause, there's a man walking on the side of the road, I don't want to hit him, so yes, I did slow down just a little bit.
And did you recognize the man?
No.
At this point in time, did you know that Libby and Abby were missing?
No, no one did.
I'm gonna show you what is marked as State's Exhibit 220.
Yep.
Do you recognize that area?
Yes. This is the road that I was on, and I don't know if you guys can see from this angle, this is the Mears entrance. Indicates, this was the route I was on right here, going this way. Indicates.
Okay. So I'm gonna ask you to make an arrow on the road just east of the Mears entrance, and don't make it so big so you don't have any other space, 'cause I'm gonna ask you to mark some other things.
Okay.
And then on the south side of the road or the bottom of the page below it, not bottom of the page, but below your arrow, write your initials.
Okay. My initials, just so you guys are aware, is SC, obviously, but just in case. I believe your marker's dying. Indicates, okay.
Okay. And circle the mirror's entrance. Oh, the marker is dying.
I know, your marker's drying up, oh no. Indicates.
Okay. You're doing a good job. Okay. Now, where did you see this man? And if you could make vertical lines to designate an area and then, oh, let me get you another marker. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So there's that. Alright, so there's that. And let me fix all these. And then, I'm gonna label this as Bridge Guy, because that's who I know him as Bridge Guy.
I was just going to ask you that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's that.
So, Sarah, when you learned that the girls were missing, were you already home?
I was.
And in the days that followed, did you learn from the news that there was a picture of a man from Libby's phone?
Yes.
And so I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 210. Do you recognize this picture?
Yes.
And did you see it on the news?
Yes.
And when you saw it on the news, did you recognize the image?
Yes.
And what did you recognize it as?
I recognized it as the man I SAW earlier covered in mud and blood on the road.
And the one that you just marked, at least the area?
Yeah, of the area of where it was.
Okay. And so you became familiar that this person was referred to as Bridge Guy?
Yes.
And what was different about the man, as opposed to his picture, if anything?
The difference that I saw with him and the things that made me notice him was, obviously, he was covered in mud and blood, his demeanor, and the way that he was walking on the side of the road. May I get up and demonstrate?
Yes. Give me just a moment, 'cause I'm gonna have this exhibit copied for the jury.
Okay.
And so while you're testifying, they can do that. Okay. So, Sarah, tell us about what you saw on the man that is different from this photograph.
He was covered in mud and blood. He was walking on the side of the road and his demeanor was very sketchy. When somebody is walking towards you on the side of the road, you know, when you pass them, you're gonna look at them, right? And they're gonna look back at you. He did not look at me. He was walking like this. Demonstrates, doing that. Demonstrates, and he was covered from mud, mainly on the top, down, because this was darker, and then, when you got to the bottom, his pants were covered in mud and, underneath it, was blood splatters on his legs.
Okay.
And that, obviously, drew my attention, because he's covered in mud and blood.
Now, was this unusual for you to see on County Road 300?
Yeah. I mean, I literally thought he fell down the Cliff Rock Hill, like he was being stupid, walked too close to the cliffs, and just tumbled down the hill. I literally thought that's what happened to him.
And the time of day, was it still light out?
Yes. The sun was in the process of setting. You know how February sunsets are, they happen around like 4:30 in the afternoon. I will remember, when I passed him, I remember the orange glow hue of the sun behind me as I was heading east.
Did you take time to make note of anything else about him as you passed him?
Not really outside of just like those main, basic observations and just noticing, like, he was acting sketchy.
Did you continue to watch him in your rearview mirror?
Not really.
And once you saw him in the media, the picture of Bridge Guy, did you contact the police?
I did, 3 weeks later.
Okay. And why did you wait?
I am very traumatized by anything murder related, and I will admit I am still terrified by some of this stuff that's going on. I was scared. I had a gut feeling that this was a local man, and I am a notorious overthinker about how to deal with a lot of these things. My inaction in those 3 weeks was just me panicking and being upset and thinking maybe I saw, like maybe I don't know. I was just having a moment. And then, when 3 weeks later happened, there was an officer who was standing out there by the mirror's entrance, taking tips and, honestly, I felt like it was the fate of God, telling me, You need to be brave and go and talk to this officer, instead of being scared here, because this needs to be taken care of.
So at this roadblock location, were they stopping all the cars?
Yes, they were. They were at the point where they were stopping everybody in 3 different areas. They had from what I remember, the Mears entrance is where I gave my tip, but I also believe they had another police set up over on the opposite side of Monon Bridge, and then I think there was a 3rd one somewhere, but I do not recall where that was, and they were stopping everybody and asking for tips, cause I don't know how many of you are actually familiar and local with this area, but when this happened, it turned this entire county and every member in it upside down, because this is a very small town.
And when you were contacted by law enforcement then, you said it was several months later.
Yep.
Was that the first time you gave an official statement?
Yes.
And during your conversation with law enforcement, did they talk to you about the Hoosier Harvestor video?
Yes.
Were you familiar with the Hoosier Harvestor and its location?
I'm familiar with the location. Honestly, I did not realize that there was as a store back there. I just know it as a bunch of storage units, so I just thought it was just a storage unit building. I didn't know there was a store back there, but they do have cameras.
Okay. And so law enforcement showed you some still shots from that camera?
Affirmative response.
To see if you could help them determine your vehicle on the camera, is that correct?
Yes.
And so did you assist in identifying your vehicle the last time you passed by the Mears entrance and this camera and would have seen the bridge guy?
Yes.
I'd like to show you what's marked as State's Exhibit 219. It's already been provided to the jury. Do you recognize that?
Yes. This is my old car that I used to have during that time frame.
Okay. And it indicates a time and it's a 24-hour clock.
Which the time here says 3:56, close to the 4 o'clock hour.
And is that when you recall driving by there?
Yep.
Judge, the state would move to admit Exhibit 220 and publish it to the jury. State's Exhibit 220 offered.
No objection.
All right. Without objection, 220 is admitted and you may publish.
I'll pass the witness, Judge.
Mr. Baldwin.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
You used the word mud 11 times in your first interview with police.
Yep.
And you never said the word blood the first time you talked to police.
I believe I did, but it's not my portion of law enforcement to catch on those things, 'cause I believe I said mud and blood at one point. I do know that in the transcript for that area, it has me mumbling, and I will admit, my first interview, I was very nervous and I mumbled and rambled a lot.
So the first time you said, 11 times you said, blood, mud.
Affirmative response, I said blood once.
You said, mud, 11 times.
Affirmative response.
In that first interview, right?
Yep.
And when you said, mud, the first time in that interview, you didn't say, mud and blood, right?
No, I didn't.
The second time, you didn't say, oh, I saw him in mud and blood, did you?
I said mud and blood. I believe I'm trying to remember how many times I mentioned it, but there was a portion where I stand up in my little video from my interview and that is when I said that.
But you are admitting that in the transcript, blood doesn't appear.
It does not appear.
All right. Now, nobody prevented you from, when you were saying mud, pairing it up with blood, did they? Nobody said, well, if you say mud, don't say blood.
Yeah, no one said anything like that.
You just didn't say mud and blood, that was.
I said mud and blood once, but mud, a lot of times, 'cause he really was caked in mud.
The blood doesn't appear in the transcript.
It does not, in that first one.
Objection, Judge. Asked and answered.
Sustained.
Now, you were interviewed a couple of weeks later.
Affirmative response.
Weren't you?
Yes.
And you said, that time, the word mud 13 times in that interview to law enforcement, right?
I believe so.
And in that interview, you also never said the word blood.
I believe I did, because I believe that second interview there's at least an hour worth of video transcript that's missing.
Oh, okay. So there's missing video that you say you think you said blood?
I just know that there's at least an hour portion of that interview that I.
But you admit the transcript that you've seen shows no mention of the word blood in that second interview, correct?
I don't know honestly.
Would you like to? Can I refresh your recollection with the transcript and you could have an opportunity to review it?
You're welcome to.
May I approach, Judge?
You may.
So this, I'm handing you your June 19, 2017, interview.
Affirmative response.
And I guess I'm asking you to refresh your recollection whether you used the word blood in this transcript from that interview.
I do not see anything in here, but I will remember that I do remember talking to that officer about it and being able to describe what I saw, and I marked it on an image.
Okay. But in this transcript, there's no mention of the word blood.
That I'm aware of, no.
Your second interview. Well, you just looked at it.
Yeah, I know.
There's no blood in it.
I know.
No one prevented you from saying blood in that interview, did they?
No.
Then, we switch over to the third interview, and you never said the word.
That interview also took 2 years later, and, at this point, I understand you're doing your job and you're doing great at it, but the details of that day are simple as it is. I saw Bridge Man walking on the south side of the road at the 4 o'clock hour. He was covered in mud and blood, and that's that.
Except in March of 2019, your third interview, you never said mud, you just said blood.
You mean the opposite? Because are you trying to manipulate this question?
No, I'm not trying to be tricky. Thank you for saying that, you are correct. In March, your third interview, you never used the word mud, you only said blood, correct?
In my third interview?
Yes.
I believe I said mud and blood. My description for him is always gonna stay the same, because my memory of him. Now.
You think your description's always gonna say the same?
Yeah. My description is Bridge Man.
But you do remember a third interview in 2019?
Yes, I did.
Would it help to refresh your recollection to see if you ever said the word mud or muddy to the officer, if I provided that transcript to you?
I mean, you're welcome to.
Objection, Judge. Asked and answered.
Overruled.
March 2019. I'm handing you the entire transcript from March 2019. Will you, please, read it for the word mud or muddy and let me know when you are ready?
Sorry, at the beginning of this I was rambling a lot, apparently. Definitely mentioned blood in here, but I do not see mud.
So a moment ago, ma'am, you had said that your description was always consistent, mud and blood, but that's not true, is it?
I guess not, but.
In fact, you said the word blood 16 times in that third interview. I don't know if you counted it up.
Oh, I didn't count that far, I just made sure.
You said many times while you were reading this. Does that sound reasonable, 16 times?
I would say so.
And in fact, you said that it looked like a hog had been slaughtered, that's how much blood you saw.
I've never slaughtered hogs, I just know blood splatter, and that is something that I used as an analogy. So as far as how accurate that description is, I don't know, 'cause I've never slaughtered a hog, so.
So the mud from 2017 in your first interview turned to blood by 2019?
No. It's still mud and blood. So.
You had indicated on your direct examination that you thought maybe he had fallen down a cliff and that's why he was muddy.
Yeah. I'm just.
And he had blood on him.
Why would I suspect he was a murderer at that point?
Did you stop to help him?
No. I'm a woman, I'm not gonna stop and help a random man.
And in that first interview, you told the law enforcement that the color of his coat was tan, not blue, correct?
I did, but I will say that was inaccurate.
It changed to blue after your second interview when you saw State's Exhibit 210, correct?
Correct, but it was always blue. My first interview, I'll admit, I did describe the color of that coat wrong.
You think maybe this had some impact on your thought process in terms of what you originally remembered versus, after seeing this, what your memory changed into?
The reason why I feel like my memory remembers more brown than blue is just because of the fact that he was covered in a lot of mud.
I mean, in your second interview, you even indicated to the person that was interviewing you, I don't want to be contaminated with the photo, so please, don't show it to me.
You are right. And I still don't know, you guys know more about this case than I do. I really want outside of this testimony, I want nothing to do with any of this. So
the answer is yes.
Yes.
You did not want that officer to show you the photo.
You are correct.
But then he did, didn't he?
I mean, it's hard not to. It was all over the news, all over every single social media. It was plastered all over town. There's still photos of him plastered all over town. It's hard not to notice the image.
In fact, the law enforcement officer not only put it in front of you when you asked him not to, he asked you to keep it there during the entire interview, so that you could be looking right at it, if you wanted to, correct?
Maybe. I do not remember if that was his exact wording or if that's why he put the image down on the table, I just know it was there.
And after he put that image there, that's when your story started to change.
No. My story has never really changed. The only thing that probably has done me wrong is my anxiety in all of this.
You also indicated in the second interview, that the guy you saw on 300 North was wearing a brown sweater, right?
I mean, it was under his coat.
Under his tan coat or blue coat?
It was a blue coat.
You also told, strike that. The guy you saw on the road had curl to his hair.
He had a little bit of hair poking out. Now, whether or not it's curly, it's hard to say. I passed him on the road while I was driving. He could have been sweaty, he was covered in mud, it could have been just flipped up from that aspect, but he had a little bit of hair, at the time, peeking out.
Okay, you also thought that he had very effeminate eyes.
What? Are you romanticizing this man, cuz?
Those are your words. Want to see them?
I never said he had very romantic eyes,
Effeminate eyes? You never said that.
No, I did not.
Do you remember taking a deposition with us, Brad, and?
Yeah.
Would it help refresh your recollection if I have you review your words from this deposition?
I believe a part of that deposition there's stuff in there that I don't think we're talking about, so.
Would it help to refresh your recollection whether you said, very effeminate eyes?
No, I'm good. You
said, very effeminate eyes, that's, the person you saw had very effeminate eyes.
Objection, Judge. Asked and answered.
Sustained.
I don't think she's answered it, Judge.
She doesn't recall.
Well, then I'd like to have her.
Then, I do not recall. I don't remember ever saying that he had feminine eyes.
I'd like. Would it help refresh your recollection if I showed this to you?
No, I'm good. I am good.
You also claimed to not have your phone with you for all the time you were driving on that day, is that accurate?
I thought I had my phone with me. I don't feel like, this day and age, I don't feel like I would have left the house without my phone and been driving around the county for hours on end without a cell phone. Also, they pinged. Part of the reason they were able to contact me was because my cell phone pinged off the tower, so your information there is incorrect.
So you did get, that's right around where the girls were found, is that your understanding? Or do you know?
I don't even know where they were found at.
But around the Mears entrance, your phone apparently pinged, is that what you're saying?
I know that they also went through the cell phone tower that's nearby, and they went through every single person whose cell phone pinged on that tower.
What?
And that, my phone did ping off of that tower.
What is your provider?
My provider is Verizon.
So you had 3 weeks of sheer panic and then, even after seeing the photo on the TV, and then it took you 3 weeks to go talk to the police.
Yeah. I was a chicken. Cowardly lion right here, just a chicken.
So you saw a guy a half a football field or so past the Mears.
Objection, Judge, form of the question. He's putting testimony in the question that hasn't been previously testified to.
Sustained.
You were traveling around 35 miles an hour when you saw this person.
I believe so, but I'll admit, I didn't look exactly at the gauge when I was driving by.
Sure.
I just know I was driving slow enough that I obviously was not speeding past him, but enough to at least look at him when I noticed him.
And you only saw him for a mere instant.
I would say probably 30 seconds at most. From point of driving down to when I no longer saw him, because I saw the people here, indicates, looked forward, saw him on the side of the road, drove past him, and then went on my merry way home.
In terms of the details, you saw him for a mere second, the details of his face.
I'd say about 30 seconds. Not enough to get a, aha, is this man right here, but enough to be like, yeah, that's a white man in his 30s to 40s, maybe 50s. This guy is covered in mud and blood. He's very suspicious. He's wearing an extreme amount of layers for a day that is so nice and warm, and he's just being weird. Okay.
You remember being deposed, when Mr. Rossi and I deposed you?
Yes.
You told us that you only saw him for a mere instant, isn't that correct?
I would say 30 seconds is a mere instance, unless your instant is a different definition of my instant.
That's fair. It is, but that's fair. A mere instant in your world is 30.
Yes.
Okay. And you also did not have time to study any details on this person you saw.
Yeah. I can't tell you how many freckles he had or if he had feminine eyes or any of that.
Well, do you want to refresh your recollection about the effeminate eyes?
I believe they said no.
You know, I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Diener.
Thank you, Judge. Sarah, let's start with the tan sweater. When you say tan sweater, what kind of clothing are you describing?
See, in this instance, it'd be like a hoodie.
And when you say a hoodie, would that be like a pull-over type of thing that has a hood on it?
Yes. Think of your sweater that you pull over, has a pocket in the front that has the hood on the back. The biggest thing is it had a hood.
Okay, so you could see a tan hood?
Yes. I believe.
And you indicated there was a question about whether you saw hair. Did?
Yes, there was a hat on this person.
Could you describe the hat?
The hat was odd to me, which I will admit that I'm really only familiar with baseball caps. Anything else, it is a weird hat to me. So I just remember it was a funky-looking hat, not one that's common in my wardrobe.
Did it have a bill on it?
I think so, but I'll admit, I've also been shown so many pictures of hats over the years. In every interview, I've done so many, I feel like it's just a Tinder profile now on flipping hats.
Okay. Could you have mistaken hair for a part of the hat?
Maybe. But
did this hat have anything that covered the ears?
I saw the bottom of his ears, but also, he was hunched like this, demonstrates, so I don't know if it also kind of pushed his hat up, 'cause I'll admit, like, I remember it was a weird hat, but I'm sorry, like my mind is a little tainted when it comes to the hat. I cannot tell you the exact details of that hat anymore without feeling like I've been compromised.
And when you were describing what part of his ears you could see, you were hunching your shoulders, correct?
It was just like the lower bits of his ears.
And you were describing his shoulders as hunched up?
Yeah, he was hunched up.
Could you see his hands?
No. He had his hands in his pocket the entire time.
And how would you describe his posture?
Weird, sketchy.
No, in words, how would you describe it?
He was slumped over. He was kind of like, what would you say? Like curled into himself.
Okay. And then, you also said that someone told you that they identified your phone number in a ping, is that correct?
Yes.
You then said they checked all the numbers that came up in a ping. Do you personally know that?
I just know that because my family lives nearby and all of them got called and questioned, and anybody that I remember from that time frame talking on social media, they mentioned that their phones were pinged and talked to through that process.
In your process of being interviewed multiple times, did an officer talk to you about your phone being located in the area?
Yes. I believe it was in either the first or second interview, 'cause
Did officers indicate to you that they were trying to make contact with everyone's phone that pinged in the area?
Yes. They were.
Okay.
Contacting everything. And I feel like it's important to point out to them, they were also following thousands of tips at the time frame.
Fair. Let's only talk about what you personally know.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. So you believe you learned something about phone numbers in a pinged area from law enforcement?
Yes, I believe.
Okay. Let's talk about your second interview.
Affirmative response.
You indicate that you had an opportunity to review your second interview on video.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And when you started to observe the second interview, did you notice that a portion of the discussion with the officer was missing?
Yes, a good portion.
Okay. And you indicated to Mr. Baldwin that you believed it was an hour to an hour and a half. Is that correct?
Yes.
And during that portion of the interview, were you telling the officer about mud and blood on the person you saw?
Yes.
And was it during that period of time that the officer provided you with a picture of Bridge Guy?
Yes.
And at that point, you indicated to him you had already seen the image in the media?
Yes.
And so were you asked to mark, on this picture of Bridge Guy, what you observed in the neighborhood of mud and blood?
Yes, I was.
I'd like to show you what's marked as State's Exhibit 221. Do you recognize this image?
Yes, I do. This is the image I marked on here. When you guys go to look at it.
Well, I'll let you talk about it.
Oh, sorry.
So you do recognize the image, correct?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And so by the time the officer gave you this image. Judge, I would move to admit Exhibit 221. State's Exhibit 221 offered.
No objection.
And published to the jury.
All right. Without objection, 221's admitted.
And okay, Sarah, so during the first hour to hour and a half of that interview, second interview, in June of 2017, had you and the officer already communicated that the person you saw on the side of the road you believed to be the Bridge Guy?
Yes.
That was an image produced in the media?
Yes.
Okay. And so you were then asked to indicate on this photograph, or you did unask, I don't know how at this moment, but you marked on it?
Yes, I marked on it.
And what were you trying to illustrate?
May I just, it's easier for me to talk with my hands, sorry. So down here on the bottom, these dots, this is what I was indicating as the blood. The lines that are upon the pants, mud. Same with right here. Indicates, And then this up here was me trying to, like, put an outline to that pesky hat, but this is just a line to kind of indicate the outline of his hat.
So.
But mud lines for mud on his coat, dots of blood on his pants.
And so you were using an ink pen to draw on this photograph?
I was using a pencil. If I knew it was going to be evidence, I would have given you guys a nice little marker down thing that was color-coded.
And so?
I'm sorry about that.
So this area on the front of his coat?
Affirmative response.
Is that mud or blood or both?
I saw it as mud, but I'm sorry, the coat was dark enough that, if he had blood on it, it would not have drawn my attention as quickly as the light-colored pants with their blood on it.
Now, I cannot tell from looking at this image, but did you mark the sleeves at all?
I did mark, I believe, some of the sleeves. Once again, I'm sorry, guys.
And was the sleeves mud or blood?
They were mud.
And then on the pants, you have the looks like raindrops almost.
Yes.
Are those splatters of mud or blood?
Those were splatters of blood.
And then what about, you said lower on the pants?
He was caked with mud, like.
Okay. And that's outside of this photograph?
Yeah. Like he was caked so much, like he had to have been like right down by the river.
Okay.
Like he was really muddy.
Thank you, Sarah.
You're welcome.
Now, when you did the third interview, you were asked why you didn't talk too much about the mud and the blood. Hadn't you already told multiple officers in your first interview about mud and blood?
Objection. That's not what the evidence showed in the first interview.
Sustained.
Had you indicated to the officers in your first interview that there was mud?
Yes.
Objection. That's not what.
She did testify she said mud and blood.
Overruled.
In the second interview, did you tell officers you saw mud and blood?
Leading questions, then.
Sustained.
In the second interview, did you describe mud and blood?
Leading, Judge.
Overruled.
Yes.
In the third interview, did you feel the need to focus on mud and blood again?
No. I focused on the blood because I felt like that was the more important aspect that they were wanting.
No other questions.
Mr. Baldwin.
So the reason you did not talk about mud when describing this person you saw on 300 North in that third interview is because you were exhausted talking about the mud, apparently. Is that what you're saying?
No, I don't believe that was it. I believe it was just the way the questioning that came up with the police officers, that's just what we focused on.
That's what we focused on.
I would say that's what the officers were focusing on when they were questioning me.
You said the word mud 13 times in that second interview.
We're doing this again?
Yes, we are. So your testimony is, apparently, that after you said mud 13 times without blood, that when the video cut off, that then you started talking about blood. Is that what you're saying?
No. What I'm saying is at the point where it was just one officer and I in the room and we were talking and he had me describing the story, I was comfortable enough that I talked and gave him more details. I was.
And that's not on video, apparently.
That video is missing and that's not on my fault. That is just a technology error.
We have to take, this is from the second interview, is this?
That is an image from what I know, was taken from Libby's phone.
I understand, but when you wrote on this, it was during the second interview?
Yes, I wrote on it during the second interview.
And we have to take your word for it that whatever is on the bottom of those pants is mud, which is what you said 13 times, and not blood, which you didn't say any time.
It's mud and blood on both.
Take your word for that.
It's mud and blood.
I have no other questions.
Does anybody on the jury have any questions for Ms. Carbaugh? Okay, I see a couple.
Sidebar conference conducted.
Oops, sorry.
No, you're fine. Okay. What was your age in February 2017?
That's fine.
Is it possible, during the police interview, that they could have misheard or confused words mud and blood?
No, I'll object to that.
They can only testify to their perception, so no.
Okay. Being that the officer heard the words so many times, so yeah, we're not doing that. Okay, so no. How wide is the road?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
I'm okay with it.
Can you describe why you concluded he had blood spatters?
That, she can testify to that.
I'd say yeah.
How obvious were the blood splatters compared to the mud on the men you saw?
I don't know that she can testify to that.
Yeah.
How old were you at the time of your initial interview?
No.
But they're the same.
So same. Okay, so no to that one. How close to the man were you when you passed by him?
Yeah.
So do you want me to say like in feet, or just let her describe?
Let her describe.
Let Ms. Mudd describe it.
Okay.
She has played it up.
My goodness. Okay. Lots of questions.
Sidebar conference concluded.
So, Ms. Carbaugh, I'm gonna ask you these questions and then the attorneys will have an opportunity to follow up, okay?
Okay.
So what was your age in February of 2017?
27, 28.
In 2017.
Yeah. Let's see, I'm 35 now. That was, I should say, 26 maybe.
Okay. Any follow-up?
No.
Mr. Baldwin.
No, Judge. Thank you.
How wide is the road?
Oh, it's a country road, so if you have two big pickup trucks crossing, you're gonna have tires on either side off the road. It's small enough that it can fit like a vehicle, like one vehicle comfortably, but if you've got two going at the same direction, you are gonna have somebody off the road a little bit.
Any follow-up?
No.
Mr. Baldwin.
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Can you describe why you concluded he had blood splatters?
Because I saw blood splatters.
Follow-up, Ms. Diener.
No questions.
Mr. Baldwin.
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
How obvious were the blood splatters compared to the mud on the men that you saw?
The blood splatters, you know, when blood is fresh it's kind of bright red still. It was still in that bright phase, so it kind of stood out against the light, I think, but it was small patches with caked up mud. So, the whitewashed jeans is what made it more noticeable to me. Honestly, if he had blood all over him, I would have not spotted it outside of the jeans.
Okay. Any follow-up, Ms. Diener?
No.
Mr. Baldwin.
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
And how close to the man were you when you passed by him?
Less than 5 feet. Like, no, less than 3 feet, honestly, so.
Any follow-up?
No.
Mr. Baldwin.
Yes. You have previously testified you were 20 feet or more away.
I mean, you're driving. I should ask for clarification, are you asking like, as I'm driving, I'm approaching him, so technically speaking, it started off as 20, then 10, then 15, then 5, 3, then behind me. Like.
The closest you got to him.
When I was passing him probably would have been about 3 feet at most.
3 feet.
I was driving. I didn't take a ruler out while I was driving, be like, hey, you're about 17 inches away from me. No. I was driving.
No other questions.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Carbaugh. You may step down.